So, I fucked up the ending of the first video. Unfortunate, but I can't let that stop me. I just gotta keep on keeping on. And maybe one day an ending will turn up. But for now, I hear Castlevania Lords of Shadow is getting a sequel.
I really like Castlevania games, but I haven't played that one. Maybe it's time to fix that. You know, thinking back on this series brings back a lot of memories. I've been a fan of the Castlevania series since I first played Symphony of the Night back when I was just a youngin'. Back then, I had no idea that I was playing a piece of such a pervasive and long-lasting video game dynasty. Seriously, have you looked at this series? Like, all of it? It's big, and I couldn't have had a better way to start it. It stuck with me throughout my childhood and adolescence. I was a huge fan of the game, and it was basically the only Castlevania game I had played. Yeah, I know, blasphemy and all that, but I never owned an NES, and I didn't ever really get that many Super NES games because I didn't have a lot of money when I was a kid, and I got a lot of books for Christmas. But I did subscribe to Nintendo Power back then, and oh boy, did I almost lose my shit when they released the Castlevania 64 issue. I had to play that game. I mean, Symphony of the Night was amazing, but this game was on a console I owned, and was in 3D, and was going to be awesome. I have got to play that game, I said to myself, so I ran out and got myself this cart. It wasn't very good, but I was a kid. What did I know? And what did I care? I played this game to death. Jump ahead a year when Legacy of Darkness, the better version, basically a director's cut of the first game, comes out and recaptured my imagination all over again. New characters, new level designs, another reason to revisit a castle. Oh yeah, one of my favorite things in video games is castles. I love exploring huge epic castles that you can get lost in. One of the reasons I was looking so forward to these games was because it promised a huge and exciting castle to explore, and it delivered. It had you work your way to it, and when you got there it was awesome, or at least it worked for me.
Am I gonna say this was a perfect game? Hell no. I'm not even gonna say it was great. It was good. At best.
In the end, it's just different than other Castlevania games. It's a perfectly serviceable game, but as a greater series, Castlevania is basically an exercise in big and epic adventure. Tons of weapons to collect and manage, huge boss battles, and later in the series, big, awesome-looking special powers you can upgrade and stuff. Legacy of Darkness has none of those. This game is about the atmosphere. Dark, rainy nights that have you exploring haunted forests, ruined guard towers, and a mysterious and sinister castle that would make you lose your sanity if you didn't lose your life first. All the elements were there for a different, new kind of Castlevania game. One that was probably trying to go more in the direction of survival horror. But all that potential did kind of go to waste. It was pretty good, but what Legacy of Darkness turned out to be was a framework for a much better game. So because I know this is an unpopular opinion and nobody wants to hear me talk up a not-so-great game, I'm just going to give it a quick rundown and move on. The biggest problems faced by Castlevania Legacy of Darkness include, but are not limited to, dodgy camera controls that would sometimes lock its position into less than helpful vantage points, though not exclusive to the game did present needless difficulty, a jump mechanic sometimes trying to be a dodge and other times trying to break Olympic high jump records, which made platforming an anxiety-causing gamble every time, a serious lack of set dressing creating big, empty, repetitive-feeling rooms, questionable execution of certain action scenes. Seriously, why do they just stand there? And a lack of polish that, while not game-ruining, did make it hard to properly engage with the characters and game as a whole. If you're willing to look past all that and adapt to the control issues, the game boasts some interesting level concepts, both aesthetically and practically, some really cool objectives that got me more tense and anxious to see through to the end than almost any other game I've played, contains a ledge-grabbing mechanic that allows you to grab onto any ledge in the game, remember that one for later, and a nice sense of flow between levels from beginning to end. On its own, not a great game, but playing it again as an adult, I see so much more than what is put in front of me. Yeah, there's the whole nostalgia thing, and that definitely is what keeps me coming back to it, but remember what I said about the game right before it came out and how it captured my imagination? What I see when I play this game now is a piece that with a bit more time, effort, and polish could have been something really exciting and new. And you can bet your ass, if I ever get into game design, I'm going back to this one for inspiration.
But I'm not here to review Legacy of Darkness. I actually want to talk about Castlevania Lords of Shadow. So, what's the deal there?
Well, fast forward to 2010. A new Castlevania game is announced, but this one is different, if you're unlike me and did your best to try and forget about it. Okay, whatever. Enter Castlevania Lords of Shadow, a brand new, fully rendered 3D, high-def, extra sauce and anchovies Castlevania game, being handled by none other than Hideo Kojima, the Metal Gear Solid guy? Oh, I am down. I am so down. Cannot wait to play this game. Yeah, I had the same reaction as when I first heard about Castlevania 64, if you hadn't already picked that up. But I'm a bad gamer, or at least a much more mellow one than I was when I was a kid. I mean, I got excited for this game, sure, but never got around to playing it.
With the sequel on the horizon, though, I think that might just be the kind of kick in the pants I need to get in on this. So, let's take a look at Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
A storm is coming. Mankind faces ruin and despair.
Hey,
The
that's
world
Patrick
is
Stewart.
changing.
I'm okay with this. Sets the stage nicely, or dare I say it, perfectly. Now, we get our main character on a rainy night, going towards a big gate. Wow, this is starting to look really familiar. Damn, does this ever take me back. The first thing I thought of when I started this fight was this feels like the polished version of Legacy of Darkness I've been hoping for my whole life. While I had been hoping for more of the simple, slower battle style of Legacy of Darkness, this game seems to take from Devil May Cry. Well, what action game doesn't these days? But that is one of my other favorite game series, so I'm okay with that. The only problem with this scene is the near constant interruption by dialogue box tutorials. It's flaky, it's breaky, and, well, did you notice just how many cuts there have been in this battle footage so far? Yeah, that's all me, because I wanted 20 seconds of continuous footage before I brought up the tutorials, but there wasn't any. At any rate, there is no flow here. None. Something that never would have happened with Legacy of Darkness. Just saying. And now you're stopping the game to tell me to pick up the shiny object. Are you kidding me? I'm a gamer. Half my life has been dedicated to picking up the shiny objects. Okay, so the fight's not over yet. Cool. Until... ah, damn it. QuickTime events? Castlevania Lords of God of War? Okay, whatever. It's the 2000s. Everyone's doing them now. Oh, the times they are changing and all that. Whatever. The gates are opening now, and I'm right back to the beginning of Legacy of Darkness. Oh, hell yeah. Let's fight a boss! Damn QuickTime events. Alright, here goes. Trying to use my new attack, and damn. Trying again, and damn. Okay, so now he's up on the cliff. And let's break this bit down here. At this point in the game, the very first level, not even the first full hour of gameplay, I was already so used to the game spamming the screen with self-explanatory game mechanics and explanations that I was actively trying to ignore them. I was so busy watching the wolf up here that I didn't see I was supposed to God of War my way out of this boss fight. I did this event 3 times before I finally got it. You can call me thick or an idiot or whatever. I just want to know why I can't just kill a boss anymore. It has to be cinematic or the kiddies won't buy it? Is that it? What I'm saying is, a problem is presented if you are inspiring your players to ignore heads-up commands. So the wolf's dead now, and I can keep on moving. Forward into the great beyond, the first steps of an epic journey towards adventure wrought with the horrors of a world plunged into darkness, in which anything could be awaiting to test my mettle and bend my resolve. Jean-Luc Picard is going to read to me again first. Alright, I see that loading bar now. Is this how it's going to be every time? Yep. After each level, Patrick Picard reads me a bedtime story. Well, I guess you gotta do something with those loading screens. You know, because they're there. Another thing Legacy didn't do. Up next is the cutscene, also narrated by Stewart. Now, if there's one thing this game has been really good at so far, it's building a mood. The music is good, and I mean really good. It's very effective, but not intrusive, and that, mixed with the graphical power of this game, can really drive a scene into your mind. But when it's over, what I think might be the most random thing I have ever seen in a video game takes place right out of nowhere.
I hear you seek the Guardian of the Lake. I will take you to him, but we must be quick. Climb onto my back. Hurry!
Yup, a glowing talking horse appears next to me and told me to jump on its back so I could run away from some Lord of the Rings bad guys. Then a book opened and suddenly I was plowing through the forest Endor style. Yup, most random thing ever, and I'm a Suda51 fan. I would like to put this into context, but I don't think there is one. I know this scene seems pretty appropriate given that it's a Tolkien-style fantasy setting, but let's just go over one more time what was happening before the crazy hit the fan. My dude was asleep and dreaming, being narrated by Patrick Stewart after having what could very well have been a very boring walk alone in the woods for a couple of hours. Now he's been woken up by this, followed by this. All this random, we're gonna call it bad random, comes from bad pacing, and yeah, I know this is still part of the tutorial. You ride plenty of mounts later in the game, and you have to learn sometime, But this ham-handed chopping up the action isn't helping the immersion or the making me want to keep playing this game. The fight with the giant wolf is long over in our minds. Could have brought the horse in right there, but no, instead you put us to sleep. So now you need to build the action up again, not inflate it like a balloon, then let it go zooming around the room only to have it flop flaccidly onto the ground for another one of Professor X's bedtime stories, followed by a totally silent and slow-moving walking level. Yeah, so now we're in the dead bog, and we have even more pandering tutorial notes interrupting the gameplay. Yeah, I learned about this back... wait a minute. Why can't I jump over that rock?
Why can't I walk on that fallen tree?
Oh, I get it. You see that? Right there? Yeah, that's an invisible wall. Trust me, it's there. And this game is packed with them. Like, I mean stuffed to the rafters. So that glowing ledge right there, those are the ledges I'm allowed to grab onto. Nice of them to highlight them for me, because otherwise I would have no idea what I could and couldn't do in this game. Why is it that I have to climb up here as opposed to here? And it doesn't even help that much, because they're not entirely obvious in the already pretty busy scenery. There are even invisible walls built into the mechanics of the game. Why can't I walk on this? I walked on this, why can't I walk on this? This was that, but I can't walk... whatever. If there's one thing the game teaches you in a hurry, it's that you shouldn't waste time trying to jump into the scenery, because you can't. So I guess I'll just have to walk through this swamp. But then this happens. Yep, every time I want to go through the swamp until I die. Well, what was I expecting? If you have 2 working brain cells, you'll figure out pretty quick that this game isn't so bold as to try and mess with the mechanics to make the game more engaging, and you're not supposed to be losing that much life. What you are supposed to figure out on your own is that there are some special pieces of scenery that you can, nay, must interact with in order to get through this level. Great. A game that won't let you jump on this rock, but forces you to jump on this one. Mixed messages to say the least. So I climb into the church, I get a new tool and more tutorials. Seriously, the rest of this level is just tutorials that you could easily extrapolate from what you've already learned in this very game. Not to mention past experiences you have from a lifetime of gaming. But what about first-time players, VZ? I hear you asking. One word. Do you want tutorials on or off? Okay, it's more than one word, but it's one thing! You put it right here and here. Not that hard. So in the next level, I'm running around a less swampy forest collecting symbols. Once I find them all, I'm greeted by... fairy tits.
No.
Don't get me wrong, I'm all for tits.
I didn't realize we'd wandered into the unrated director's cut of Fern Gully.
Okay, whatever. So now I'm in a forest cave, wherein I meet this guy, Guardian of the Lake of Oblivion. He says that Gabriel, oh yeah, BT Dubs, the main character's name is Gabriel, can talk to his dead wife, but first we gotta play Wheel of Edgar Allan Poe.
Nevermore.
I'd like to buy an A.
Whoa, a lot of A's.